Welcome to the party.
Hey, Eli, how are you?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Eli Krause. Greg, how do you know Eli?
Oh wow. So I met Eli. He was somewhere between 16 and 17. He was a junior in high school. I was co-teaching his English class. And honestly, that was probably one of my best experiences teaching in general. Is that was that class. We had a ton of fun. The co-teacher I had, she was super great. A lot of different discussions and experiences. One of which I remember, and I'm going to go right into an anecdote because it's fun. The whole class, there was the discussion of, and John, you can kind of relate to this now. When you're a parent, are you going to have one of those backpacks that has the leash on it, like when you're in the airport and stuff? And I let this discussion just kind of play out because all the high school kids were like, no, absolutely not. You can't do that. The co-teacher, who had been married about a month and a half, I think, was like, well, I don't know, maybe I can see. And I let them kind of go. And then it may have been Eli. Somebody was like, Strully's being way too quiet. Like, what's he thinking about over there? And I was like, okay, is it my turn? I can take my turn now. I said, as the only one in this classroom that has children, y'all need to shut up. And I just kind of went off on like they have no idea what it's like to wrangle a toddler in a busy airport and just like the stress. I'm like, no, you if you can put like a little tie on them, you do that and you're wrapping around your hand and they're not going anywhere. So anyway, that was a ton of fun having that class. Eli went on, actually attended our alma mater, UW Whitewater, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
And then he went out to Arizona and
Something happened to Eli.
Something happened to Eli. And like, so by day, Eli is like in like digital marketing. I think I read up, digital marketing guy, and by nights and weekends, he is drag queen the word? I mean, I don't even know if that's politically correct or not, but you're a showman. I mean, you put on a show, you've got a full character, Rebecca Goodhead, and I was like, oh, I want to talk to Eli to figure out how all that happens. So here we are.
So welcome, Eli. Before we get really into this, can everybody see me?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, wasn't sure. All right. The light on my camera is not on, so I wasn't sure about that. Anywho, Eli, where are you originally from?
New Berlin, Wisconsin.
New Berlin, Wisconsin. Okay, that's not too small of a town in Wisconsin, but that's small enough, right?
We have two high schools. That kind of gauges it.
Okay, all right. So I guess my first question is, when did I'm trying to frame this right. When did you you're gay, right, Eli?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So when did you well, I mean there's some people that are drag queens and they're not gay, so I had to ask. You know. Okay, so when did you always know you were gay? Was there a moment in like growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I kind of always knew I was different, and probably right around like 16 years, I would say, is when I realized like, hey, something's different, and like me constantly dating girls to kind of repress that, it's not really working anymore.
Really? Yeah. Okay. So that must have been real challenging, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in any type of high school, especially at 16. And as confused as I was just being me, I can't imagine that on top of it. So what was that like, honestly, if you don't mind going into it?
It was very almost secretive to me.
Yeah.
Just because I grew up in a household where it wasn't really accepted.
Okay.
And so I just tried to repress and tried to just like different ways of like hiding that part of my life. But then my sophomore year of college is when I'm just like, you know what? I'm kind of done dating girls. It's not working. Something's not clicking. I had experimented my first year and a half of college, and I'm like, yep, I'm gay.
Yeah.
I didn't do like a big like post or anything about it. All I did was like change my relationship status on Facebook to the guy that I was seeing, and everyone's just like, "We knew it."
I gotta admit, when because we're friends on Facebook, and when that happened, I was like, oh, did we not know? Okay, cool, yeah, all right, awesome. But you had in high school, you had a friend, Kimberly or Kim.
Kim and I were best friends in school.
And if I'm remembering right, I thought she was out in high school.
Yeah, she came out our freshman year.
Okay. And maybe that was just kind of why I for lack of a better term, assumed, and sorry about that, but yeah, maybe that was it. And I don't know, when you're saying you were different in high school, that's why I liked you two so much, because it was just like you weren't putting on airs for anything. You were very straightforward and genuine about how you felt about stuff, and I didn't get that cover like you get with some other high school kids where you were never offensive. I don't recall about anything. I mean, but it was just like, oh, this is me, and Kim was the same way. This is me, and we're cool about it. And everyone was like, yeah, cool.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
About it.
What's that?
I didn't hear that. So say it again.
I said I didn't really get too much pushback or anything, especially when I came out. It was all loving.
Good.
I became a dancer for Milwaukee Pride Fest. Like, when I came out, and I did it all. It was fun.
Cool. So what got you into? I feel like I'm saying I feel like a derogatory term when I say drag queen. Like, that's okay, right?
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So when did you fall into that drag when did you fall into Goodhead?
Tell us the story of the birth of Rebecca here.
You got it. When I moved to Arizona in July of 2018, I was all by myself. I didn't really have anyone. I had like some family members that lived like 45 minutes to where I was staying. I was just staying at a friend's guest house for the time being until I could find a job and all that. But I really didn't have any really close friends or just someone to talk to or anything that was there. So I heard of a bar down the road that did drag shows, and I'm like, yeah, let's go check it out. Check out the gay scene. And then while I was there, one of the performers that night came up to me and was like, hey, wow, like, you have a great personality. Try out for the amateur drag show we have every Thursday night. And I'm like, okay, perfect way to meet new people that are also into the same hobbies that I am. Mm-hmm. Just like entertaining and just being in front of crowds and making people laugh. That's just what I was born to do, for damn sure.
Cool.
And then, so I tried out and I did good, and I won. They called them episodes each week. I won one of the weeks, and so I went to this big finale where we all just competed for the crown. I didn't win, but I had fun doing it.
But you still had fun. So what made you go out to Arizona? If you knew nobody and there was no job out there, what made you go out to Arizona?
I just needed to get out of Wisconsin. I don't know. My sister had moved out here like 10 years before me.
Okay.
And I had visited a whole bunch, and it was just perfect weather, like great people. Just, I don't know, something was just drawing me here. And after college, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And I'm like, let's do it. Let's try it out. I can always come home.
I think that's the best time is right after college to go out there and, establish your roots. I'm a big fan of Arizona. I love Sedona, Flagstaff, Phoenix. I don't think anybody that goes to Sedona doesn't like Sedona. But,
right? It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing, actually. It's really pretty. So that's cool. So what goes into being a drag queen? Like, what is the keep up? Like,
so much.
Yeah, go into it.
I drag like my third job.
It's your
like,
third job?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, a lot of preparing. Usually if I have a show that night, I will start getting ready around like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for like a 9 o'clock show.
Wow.
Oh,
What
yeah.
does getting ready mean? Does that mean like, because
I
I see a
got
lot of wigs behind you.
Oh, yeah. I have different drag stuff all over my room, honestly.
Okay.
So I hop in the shower and I have to like shave my pits, those dry, and my beard, the little scruff that I get. And then I put on my makeup. I have to block out my eyebrows so they aren't seen. And then just create an entire new face on top of my normal face, basically. Like sometimes it's thick makeup that I have to put on, especially if it's going to be lasting for 5-6 hours afterwards.
Yeah, I would imagine. How long did it take for you to find your look? If that makes sense.
I'd say about like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Just kind of figuring out what works with my face, and then just getting good at makeup. I never really did makeup before drag.
Mm-hmm. Were you like workshopping it with other drag queens or with even friends to try to figure out what? Because the pictures of Rebecca look nothing like you. I mean, it's a different face for sure.
Oh yeah. I would say like the first couple times I did drag, I had some friends who knew makeup at least a little more than me. Come over and do pretty much all of my face, and then I would just stay up and YouTube videos for hours and hours. I'd YouTube like drag eyeshadow makeup or drag mascara or drag like every single part of the face. I have researched so much about, and then I'll like practice on my face while the video's going, and it just kind of helped me figure out what looks best on me. And I usually gauge that by the people that I see out at the bars will be like, oh my gosh, nice eyebrows. And I'm like, hey, this works for me.
Okay, so are any of those wigs real hair?
I do have a couple real hair. They're really short ones, though. Most of what I do are synthetic blends, which means right by the hairline will be real hair sewn into synthetic hair.
Wait. So you have it. Wait, say that again. So say that one more time. Because you're not saying you sew it into your head, do you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, some of the hairs are mixes. So this part where it shows kind of a crease, this is hair. And then anything underneath is all synthetic, like plastic derived.
So how much does something like that cost?
Most of my wigs cost between like $80 to $120.
Okay.
Like the big one that I have behind me, that was $160.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was thinking. It
a
was
lot
good.
of hair.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, less than I would think.
Yeah. Me too.
mean,
my first thought was like a $300 thing, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if I were to do like a big wig like that, but with human hair, it would run you about $300 to $400.
Have you ever done the Marge Simpson? Like,
Oh,
have you ever done that?
I've always wanted to do Angelica's doll from Rugrats, where it has like the little wave
yeah.
coming out.
I've never seen Rugrats.
Oh,
no,
really?
no,
You should
no,
watch it. It's pretty good.
No.
So when you're developing, when you're developing your show, I haven't seen your show, although I just read that sometimes you come back to Whitewater to do like an annual drag show. Is that what I read?
Oh yeah, my
no way.
UW Whitewater, their Impact group, which is like their gay alliance. They host a show every single year, like February, March-ish. And 2 years ago I did it, and Jada Essence Hall, she actually just won the newest RuPaul Drag Race. She was the host that night.
Nice.
And then I drove back to Wisconsin this past February, and the show was canceled 3 hours before.
Oh.
No way.
Yeah. That would be rough.
So,
Well, If
Go
it's
ahead,
on
Greg.
for next year, let us know because I think
Yeah.
John and I
Oh,
could probably meet in Whitewater. Right?
For sure. I think it'd be fun.
Oh, I've never personally seen a drag show. We've thought about it, like when we go to Vegas, we're just like, do we do that one? Do we do a different show, stuff like that? But and I don't know if this is trite or not, but one of our favorite movies is Connie and Carla, which is about drag shows in general. And
He's
it's,
talking about him and his wife. He's not talking about Johnny and Greg.
yeah, that's fine. But you can come too, John.
I can. Thank you.
But anyway, so when you're developing your show, I mean, are you looking at pieces of music? I mean, is Rebecca like do you go from like a Southern Belle to like a
Is she a slut? She a slut, Eli?
She is a little risque.
Risque. All right.
She
That's
loves
fun.
to be almost like hyper feminine mixed with androgyny. So like sometimes I'll have like this 3-layer outfit, and throughout the 10-minute song that I put together, I'm like ripping off layers, and it's a whole new outfit underneath. And like sometimes the last layer is just me in a G-string in the center stage, just feeling my.
So, 10 minutes. That is a long time to put on a show.
Oh yeah, that's just one mix. Most of my mixes are between 5 and 8 minutes, I'd say.
Okay.
But when I'm doing a competition, it's usually around 10.
So are you so you're looking at, I mean, you're not only doing your own makeup, but are you making your own mixes? So you're doing sound design, you're doing your own costume design. I mean, that's like different areas of a theater degree that are degrees in unto themselves.
Yep.
Oh yes, and my theater background with New Berlin West, I was the Thespian Society president my senior year. I was super into drama and all that, so it really helped me to know, like, okay, because a lot of my shows that I do down here will have a theme. Like it'll be Beyonce versus Rihanna night, or it'll be Into the Jungle night, you name it. So I have to think of songs that have like relate to the genre, but also special Rebecca. And so I put together my mixes and my remixes. I have this little intro to every song that goes Rebecca Goodhead, and that's how every single one of my performances starts.
So where'd you come up with the name?
I am a big fan of Beyonce, and Becky with the good hair was a big euphemism that was used in one of her songs.
I thought it was James Bond, but all right.
It does sound like a Bond villain. I mean,
or a Bond girl.
Or
you know, Rebecca Goodhead. Rebecca Goodhead. You know. So, do you have a boyfriend?
I do not.
You do not. Okay. Have you ever, like, during this time, and they're like, dude, you need to pay attention to me instead of the makeup and the wig and the.
I did have one boyfriend since I've been down here, and he was actually 100% into me and me out there entertaining.
Cool.
We never really had trouble, like, time-wise, because he would come to shows. I'd pull him backstage to do ridiculous tasks for me. One time he is a rock climber.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I need you to be at this point in my song on the balcony, and you're going to throw this rope over, and I'm going to clip it to my harness, and you're just going to pull up. And I did that in the middle of a performance once, except I couldn't get the carabiner onto my harness. So I literally just held on, and then I like went upside down like a jungle gym on it.
Whoa. So what kind of like workouts do you have to do for this? Like, I'm assuming it's like yoga.
I'm thinking cardio.
Yeah, cardio for sure. But I think practicing the dance would be
a lot of cardio. I actually have a stripper pole in my living room, and I have to say it's the best cardio and core workout. If you just throw on a couple songs, I have a playlist that I'll pop on, and you just start spinning around that thing, you're out of breath.
Are you self-taught, or did you take a class on that?
Self-taught.
Self-taught.
More YouTube.
I'm gonna try to get my lovely wife to install a poll then, see what happens.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to be the first one on it.
Yeah. I all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank.
So I mean, you probably don't have a lot of shows going on right now with the lockdown and things like that. But
No.
are you specific to one club down there? Can we link to that? Can we tell our people? I mean, do we have any Arizona listeners yet? Because we should. Where to find you?
I perform at a lot of bars. Before coronavirus, I had my own show at a club called BS West in Scottsdale, Arizona. Every single Tuesday, I had a show with 3 other co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
That was a ton of fun. But normally, I just talk to like the show directors who are also other drag queens throughout the valley, and I perform at about 5 or 6 different places throughout Phoenix. And then, shockingly, where ASU is in Tempe, there is not a single gay bar. So hopefully,
Really?
soon, I'm looking into starting a show and just like giving a show proposal to a random bar owner down there on some of their popular streets, and just being like, "Hey, I can pull in this whole new demographic of people for you."
Yeah.
And run shows from start to finish from scratch.
I would think there would probably be an audience there.
Oh yeah.
You would
Yeah.
think so.
I would think
Yeah.
so.
Do you get paid for this? Is this something you can make a living off of, or is this just a side gig where you get a few hundred here and there?
Honestly, for me personally, this is a side gig.
Okay.
Rebecca eats more money than she makes. I should say drinks more money than she makes. But it's a hobby that I am okay with devoting a chunk of money to.
Yeah.
Like you go on my Instagram, that's my portfolio. You go to my website, this is my art, and it's timeless, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides RuPaul, I can't think of anybody else that's a famous drag queen because I'm just not in that world. But is it like just a handful that really can make a living off it versus? Yeah. Okay. That's what I kind of thought.
RuPaul too, like people know your name, and your name is your brand. At least that's how I really look at it.
Okay.
From a business angle. And so once you're on RuPaul and everyone knows your name, you can charge people $500 just to get you in the door.
Really?
Some queens really did it right, and once they got their fame, they knew how to manage it and to profit off of it. I don't know that many people personally that are just a regular Phoenix queen making enough money to hold them over. Unless you have a side gig that's also related to drag, which a lot of queens do. A lot of queens will be specific, like, hey, I make wigs. I'm really good at it. That's my niche. Buy my wigs. And that's where I purchase most of my wigs, is from other girls within the industry. Just like shop local style.
Well, John brought up a good point of like being able to name, famous drag queens, and like I think RuPaul's probably top of the order.
Wasn't there somebody else from the movie Hairspray?
Well, it's Divine.
Divine. Yeah,
Divine had been around for a long time, and I think it's passed. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But Divine, but even like I don't know if he counts as a queen, but Harvey Feinstein, real gravelly voice, was in the Broadway production of Hairspray. He was the brother in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yeah,
a real gravelly voice.
Oh yes, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know him, and quite recently I started listening to Big Frida out of New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
See, and this is where I'm confused, and this is where if I say found his music, or is it found her music, or does it not matter?
I guess it's specific to the queen. I personally, you can call me whatever you want. His, her, they,
Okay.
that. Usually when I'm talking to a queen that I don't know personally,
You
I would
know?
refer to as her. If
Okay.
they are female presenting in their drag.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Mhm. That honestly, that's why we're here, because I wouldn't know that, and the last thing, I mean, I'm not out to offend anybody, but if I did that and someone went, "No, dude," I'd be like, "Oh God, I'm sorry." So I started listening to Big Frida's music. I found her through a Lizzo song that was just on my Spotify like mix, like you hit random and just let it go, and I was kind of like, "Oh, that's pretty good. I like that." A
What kind of
little
music
bit.
is it?
It's a little bit of New Orleans.
Jazz?
It's kind of like a little bit of, I mean, there's elements of that in there. A little bit of reggaeton mix. I mean, just it was unique. And when I heard, and it came on my list because I like Lizzo, and then I was like, oh, she's doing the hook, but the Big Frida is a rapper, but with a very manly voice, like not trying to cover that at all, just hitting it with the flow. And I was like, oh, well, all right. But then when I started to like listen to the lyrics, I'm like, oh, he's talking about dudes. And that's why I gotta what am I listening to? And so I looked it up. But still, I mean, good music, good beats. I liked it.
Eli,
So I
do
guess
you I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
say famous drag queens. I guess that's my limit.
Does Rebecca have a man voice or feminine voice?
For the most part, it's my exact same voice, unless I'm trying to be comical in drag.
Okay.
I'll use the deepest voice I can do, just to throw people off.
How do you in that culture? How do you? I'm sure there's rules and like there's like these unwritten rules and like can you offend somebody else like being too not drag queeny, but you're trying to be a drag? Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and I don't think so, unless you're doing it in a way,
It's making fun of it.
that's making fun of it.
Okay.
But even that's an art in itself. I think the whole purpose of drag is like the over feminized look that you do. You see the queens,
Yeah.
and they don't have the little wing; they have the big like triangle that
Right.
you see. The eyebrows go all the way up. It's like hyper feminized femininity.
Okay.
And one of the things, and I remember talking to my kids about this, of like, not all. I think this is how I said it. Not all cross dressers are drag queens.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, good. What's the difference?
Well, I think a cross dresser just is someone who enjoys like the day to day of women's clothing, and a drag queen is like you've created a character. Yeah, I mean, you're out there, and like you said, the hyper feminine, where it's like the eyebrows are up and the makeup is over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not your everyday. That's something that you do wear a crossdresser. That might be their everyday. I remember, and I don't know if she's still there or not, but there was a crossdresser in Whitewater, who honestly, there were times I'd see him at her at a gas station where like a women's top, like cargo shorts, like dad shorts, with a pretty good 5 o'clock shadow lipstick and a little bit of eye makeup on. So, like,
Where was this?
It was in Whitewater, man. Over on what was it, East Sider, that gas station, down by the liquor store. Yeah. I'd go in there every once in a while, and she'd be in there, and I remember being at the time. I mean, I'm like 18, 19, going, you're cross-dressing, but it's like you're not really trying. I mean, that was my thought at the time, and now I don't care. I don't know. I don't think I cared then either. But
oh yeah, and that could have been someone that was more like trans identifying, or it could have just been a guy who loved to play around with makeup.
Yeah, I remember talking to some people that worked there, saying that this individual would come in, and it was almost going for the shock value. I mean, Whitewater is not a diverse town, especially in the summer where the college kids are not there. I mean, it's more or less a farming community. So I think having a cross-dresser, or even if they did identify as trans, having that in their population, I'm sure was uncomfortable for some people.
Mm-hmm. I loved making people uncomfortable. I'd go down to the bar, drag out in public, but I'd show up in a head-to-toe sequin sparkly jumpsuit and a cowboy hat. And I'd walk in every single week, and everyone would be like, "That's Eli." And the bartender would start making my drink because I only drank like some cherry rum and Coke every single day and rotted my insides.
What was your bar in Whitewater?
I love the pub.
The pub.
My favorite place. I could go play some pool, punch little punching bag.
Yep.
There's a punching bag there?
Oh.
Now there is one of those things, just a highball.
Yeah. You know what I call those? That's the big swinging dick machine. Because as soon as one guy, hey buddy, how's it going? As soon as one guy decides to punch that thing, every other guy in the bar is like, "What? What was the score? What do you get?" And oh yeah, I've ran that social experiment in bars in the town I live in now. I'll be like, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna punch it 3 times, and within 5 minutes, there are about 4 other guys in the bar that want to get on that machine just to see what they're gonna do.
I've never fallen for that shit.
Oh yeah.
I've never done, but I could see how a lot of people would. Yeah, for sure.
The pub was our bar when we were there. That was where we hung out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, Eli, I'm curious about this. You being if I guess you're a thespian now. Do you ever get lost in your character every now and then?
I would say so. Especially
How so?
when it comes to competition style Rebecca, I would call it.
Okay.
It's not really in a negative way, but I get really involved, and all I'm thinking about is, all right, how can I do what I just performed better? Is my face okay? Is my wig line okay? Like, do I look feminine? And I'm like, I'll always have a friend there backstage with me, helping me out, but I'll be like, hey, I need nails right now, or that kind of stuff, where I'm not really thinking the bigger picture. I'm like, I don't know, almost too competitive.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
But that's the really way I would get lost in my character, because for the most part, Rebecca is just a different Eli, and Eli always has a little bit of Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
In your show, are you doing your own vocals?
No, most of them are lip sync. I've done a couple voiced songs. They never really turn out because I always forget the lyrics. But I'm really hoping to get more into the live performance aspect of it. If my show wasn't canceled in Whitewater this past year, I was going to open with a piano and sang song. And I was going to go into a lip sync song by Beyonce.
Do you play instruments, Eli?
Yeah, I played piano since I was 4.
Wow. Okay. Anything else?
I played a little cello in middle school, but for the most part, I'm a singer.
There's a singer. Okay. Wow. Congrats with the piano. I couldn't stand sitting in front of that thing. Couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I had a good question, and I totally forgot it. That happens a lot here. Yeah.
Man, my dog is needy all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. So is Rebecca is out and what was the reaction from like the hometown friends and family when Rebecca was born?
I didn't really have too much of a reaction, at least that I was paying attention to. At least I didn't get anything negative that it brought my attention to.
Okay.
Started posting on like Facebook, and I made my separate Instagram. Everyone was going crazy for just like the makeup and the gaudiness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really had any pushback.
Oh, that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember that. Remember, I warned you before this podcast started that I would have some questions here and there that would borderline. So I'm going to throw one at you here. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. In terms of you or Rebecca, are you like Greg and I can wear the same shirt if we meet up at a bar and go, wow, what a cool shirt you got on. That's awesome. Yeah, I know I got it from here, right? We're happy for each other. Are you the type of person that when you walk in and they got the same wig or the same makeup, you're like, you bitch?
Honestly, not really.
No?
It's never happened to me.
Okay.
I have seen other queens copy different marketing techniques that I do, or different like for a long time I did a whole bunch of like freckles up on my high cheekbones, and then I started seeing more girls do that, and I'm like, it's not original.
Is it against, I guess, code? I again, I don't know this culture. Is it against code to get like plastic surgery?
Oh no, I know a lot of queens who would identify as trans women.
Okay.
So who use drag in order to help identify themselves, and then they transitioned. So I know a lot of people that way who do have like large breast implants, and still perform like every other drag queen.
Right.
They do the crazy makeup, but now they have like these giant tits that get them all the tips.
I heard a little upset there. I heard you were a little upset there. I heard that. So you do have that little you bitch.
You bitch.
Have you do you know anybody? I'm sure you know in the circle. Is there anybody that is straight that is a drag queen? Do you know anybody like that?
The only ones I know are cisgendered females, so regularly gendered women, born women.
Okay.
Will do drag, just hyper feminize themselves.
Isn't that cheating?
I think so. How much pain I'm in for tucking.
There we go. Thank you, Eli. Okay. All right. So what is that process like, Eli?
What's your junk like, Eli?
Normally I'll just
like,
put on
what do you go ahead.
jock strap.
A tight jock strap.
And then I have these like waist trainers almost that go on like regular underwear, and they kind of just push everything back. But a lot of queens go as far as taking like clear packaging tape, and they just push everything back. And I used to do that for a long time if my outfit required it.
Nope, you lost me right there, buddy. Yep, that's in terms of suffering for your art, I'd be out.
I know, and then I see queens that are like jumping 5 feet in the air and then landing into the splits, and I'm like,
oh no,
I don't understand a lot of that.
No, are they trying to destroy it? You think? Honestly, they're trying to destroy that. Like, is that the plan?
Like they hate it?
Yeah. God, Eli, you threw me for a loop right there with that one. So, how? Okay, so when you practice, do you practice tucked?
Oh no.
Okay, so then it's different when you're performing. So you're tucked when you're performing. So it must hurt, right?
Sometimes. I usually do the first method where I'm wearing a jock strap and then I just push it back with more clothing.
Okay.
Rather than the duct tape, just because that hurts.
What about the pole? What about the pole?
Not really a difference too much, at least, because I'm wearing that penny shaper and the jock strap, and then I'm putting on 2 pairs of tights, and then I'm putting another panty shaper on, and then I'm putting 2 more tights, another panty shaper, and then fishnets.
You know, and just
You forgot the partridge in the pear tree.
I'm holding it because I have these giant foam butt and thigh pieces that I need to look pressed to my body, so it makes my body look more feminine. But then if the more layers I'm wearing, the more natural that transition is, and it looks like a muscle or a chunk of my leg rather than a piece of foam underneath.
Okay.
So I don't do cosplay, but I know a lot of people in the cosplay community, which is dressing up. It's a fandom group. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not, where it's like people dressing up like their favorite superheroes or comic book characters or anime is very big in
podcasters.
cosplay. I've never seen anybody cosplay me. But for a lot of the guys, I know like there was, because like if you see guys, every comic convention, you've got a couple guys that are dressed up like an old school Superman or something like that, and they're not wearing anything south of the border, so you're just seeing like their package like right there. And so what a lot of cosplayers do is that they get like I think it's called a dance pad, which is something like ballet dancers wearing stuff like that. They're like, that's the secret to being able to, you know, hide your junk.
Underwear with like a stiff but not hard cup built into it.
Okay.
I used to have one when I did ballet classes in college.
Oh, that's what I had heard, and I don't know if that drag queens do that or anything, but I could see that fitting in. Or
yeah,
I had no idea about that, but I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Next Comic-Con we go to, I'll point
them out.
Yeah, be like, see, that guy's not wearing a dance.
See that guy right there? That guy right there. You sir, come here. Come here for a second.
You can
Chewbacca,
tell.
come over here.
Not only can you not tell, but it's usually they got enough ball sweat going on because they're walking around in costume all day that it's like, dude, you've got the swampiness going. And it's like security's got to talk to that guy.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to a like a comic book convention, Eli?
I have not. No.
Not.
Oh man, I saw a guy. He was dressed up. I believe he is a Chicago-based drag queen. Dressed up like it was the Wizard of Oz film with Mila Kunis, and do you know what I'm talking about? And what's it? Not DeFranco. He did like he was the wizard and she was like the Wicked Witch of the West. And anyway, I got my picture taken, and this person had to be 6'6", 6'7", and looking phenomenal. I mean, I walked up and I'm like, oh my god, all right. And so he's up here, and I mean, I'm not short, and this guy was like head and shoulders over me, but looking phenomenal. So I think I've seen a couple. It would be considered drag. It would be the way I would do it, but they're doing like certain characters, and they are so popular because cosplay, like they've got like photo op places where you're just going around taking pictures from all the different cosplayers, and literally
drag con is as well.
What's that?
That's a lot how drag con is.
Okay, I was just gonna ask you. That.
Everybody's got a convention, yeah.
Their little convention space, and then everyone dresses up their convention space, usually to match their outfit, and then people come and take photos with them.
Yeah. So where are those usually held?
LA.
Are they charging for photos? Yeah.
Usually around like $20-$30.
So do you have like an idol or a hero or like a mentor or someone you look up to, like I want to drag like that?
I pull a lot from RuPaul.
Okay.
The way of how to act as a drag queen, how to present yourself as a drag queen. RuPaul always says cunningness, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, which spells CUNT.
So you're saying? So you're saying walking or how to carry yourself, like what's the way to carry yourself?
Just like the little rules that you've never heard of. A lot, like going to a show, never getting too drunk, always thanking your show hostess before, during, and after in the night. Promoting this show because this show director is allowing you to be in the show.
Okay.
They're relying on you to bring in people. That's why they're hiring you almost.
So be a professional, basically.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's
How
cool.
how you hold yourself walking in, and how you are treating the other hosts and the other performers. It debates whether or not you're getting booked there again.
Yeah. Do you ever have a situation where a guy has no idea what he just walked into and he thinks it's just a bunch of girls?
Never really.
Never? Okay.
If
I wouldn't think so. I think it's kind of like in your
If
face.
you're showing up there, you
Yeah.
probably know what you're getting
If
into.
I'm not at a gay bar, I've had a lot of confused faces. A lot of times I'll forget something and I'll need to run to the store. I'm
Oh.
at a window, and I'm walking in like 6-inch heels, like big ass, like big hair, and people. I turn a lot of heads.
Yeah. So
Any negative experiences? Has anybody ever, like, I don't know, just that overall kind of negative experiences that you hear about? I mean, have you had any of that happen to you? Or?
Never really. The
that's
only
awesome.
I've ever had was just like the drama of other drag queens. That's where the only hate really is, at least down here in Phoenix. But then again, I don't leave my house. I don't go outside of a bar alone ever if I'm in full drag. Just
Okay.
for my
So
own
you're
safety.
safe. Yeah, you're safe. Okay, good. So you touched on something I thought was kind of interesting. The whole that there's drama within the drag queen community, which I get. I mean, I think with every community there's going to be drama, but is there, like, you know how models have this eating disorders and things like that? Is that prevalent within that culture as well, to kind of stay this female thin, because you have to add on padding, so you almost have to be thinner? Does that make sense, to add on the extra curvature?
Not really. I would say that in drag, all sizes are almost embraced.
Okay, cool.
I've heard that.
You see honestly more thicker queens than you see thinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, not that I've done a ton of research, but I've heard that about the drag community in general. Is they're like, hey, most of us have come out of some closet or another, or most of us have had some kind of, whether it's a body issue or whatever. It's very accepting. So to the point where they're like, no, I mean, you are who you are, and we're going to let you live your truth, and this is what it is. So.
Oh yeah, we all have at least some basis surrounding being gay or knowing someone that's gay, and sadly, at least for people my age and older, that almost comes with the stigma of like you have some hurt in your past.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's where at least I band together with a lot of queens. That's where I find my little niche in other people's lives in this community, because we all come from something, and this is what we did with it. This is the art that we're creating. Yeah.
That's cool. So go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was gonna say I did hear of one person who I've ever encountered who was kind of like experimenting in college, and dated a woman for, I don't know, a couple months or something like that. Decided, like, you know what? No, this actually isn't for me, and went back to being straight. And she did feel a little bit of negativity from the community because they felt like she was kind of turning their back on them in a way. But it was in Whitewater, I think. Pretty sure that's where I was. So it was already like a very small community.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, we're not a very big number in general, and this was like in the mid '90s, so being out still wasn't all that accepted. But that's the only person I've ever heard of that actually had a little bit of negativity from the community themselves.
I think it's really good, Eli, that you haven't gotten any real negativity,
Yeah.
or either that, or it just seems like you're not tuned into it. So that's even better. Like
I go into every show just out of love. I go in to show my art, and there's always going to be pushback. There's always going to be people in drag and out of drag pointing fingers or saying, oh, I would have done this or I would have done that. But I go in, and this is me. I have no apologies at all.
Good for you. Seriously.
Well, and I'm very happy to hear that, because knowing where you came from, I knew some great people in that town, but I knew some meatheads too. So the fact that you didn't get any of that, I'm very happy to hear.
Oh yes, if I have any regrets, is that I didn't come out sooner back in high school. I wish I would have at least started to figure myself out at that age, so I could spread love, spread something that wasn't me behind a mask.
That's awesome, Eli. Honestly,
Eli, when you at your graduation, you gave a speech, which was not on the program, but they brought you up. And I'm sitting there with all the other teachers, and we're like, oh, this is it. It's going to happen. He's going to do it right now. And when he did, we were like, oh, man, we thought that was going to be it. But
that would have been great.
That would have been awesome. We would have loved it.
Hey, Eli, what would you say to anybody out there that is thinking of it and they didn't come from this? It seems like you came from a real positive push. And either you created that, you created your own momentum and it sounds like that's what happened. You created your own momentum and you took yourself where you're at. For someone that is having trouble doing that, what would you say?
I would say that the first thing you need to work on is you. So many people in that situation are always worried about what everyone else is going to say, what everyone else is thinking. You need to work on you, figure out who you are, and then just learn to love that who you are. And if you don't love every single part, that's okay. It's a journey. But just know that there's resources out there and there's people out there that will love you for you. Don't put on a facade, because it just ends up hurting.
Yeah. That's powerful. I like that. All right, Johnny, question. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So with your culture, I'm sure there are moments where there's like connections to other unique cultures. And so I'm wondering, is there any other connections? Like, do you guys connect to, like, I don't know, what are they called? Furbies or furries?
Furries.
Oh,
Furries.
yeah. Furries are in the LGBT community.
Okay.
But
You know
not
any?
part of drag. I used to dance with some back at Milwaukee Pride Fest, and I'll be completely honest, they terrify me a little bit.
Me too.
Especially when their eyes like glow, and I would be like dancing on like the main stage at the Summerfest grounds.
And they're just like a teddy bear?
They would just be like right behind me, or they just appear on stage, and I'm like, oh, gotta go. I just tense up.
So that is your clown? Like that's
Yeah,
people have
that's
a
my
fear of clowns? They're your clowns? That would be kind of creepy to have like one of those, I don't know, you're just dancing, all of a sudden a huge teddy bear pops up behind you.
Or
Yep.
a wolf, or a
Or a
horse,
wolf and starts
or-
grinding on you.
And
That'd
then
be weird.
mouths open and closed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's-
Alligator.
There are people in the cosplay community. I mean, because that's a very extreme type of cosplay, and part of what people love about that particular community is because you can be anybody under that mask or in that suit, and it's really, you are fully within a character that you've created.
Yeah.
And being that I was a special ed teacher for years, a lot of students with disabilities of physical or even cognitive or whatever, they love it because they're like, no one can see, no one knows. It's just me putting myself or the character I've created out there, and so that's the positive part of that community.
Yeah.
I wonder how many politicians are doing that.
Probably more than we know.
Yeah, probably. I'm actually good.
Yeah, well, we're about an hour. So
Yeah, we're about an hour in. Eli, thank you so much. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is great. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. You know what? I didn't have any actual preconceived notions of what the culture of being a drag queen was like, but it seems very freeing. It seems very welcoming. It seems like it's full of a lot of love, and that's kind of cool because I think right now in this world we need that for sure. So that's really cool. I appreciate you sharing your life with us, and keep being a bad bitch, man. You know.
Yeah.
You want to hang out? We usually end every episode with a fact of the day. You want to hang out? Hear it out?
Sure, I'd love it.
All right, cool.
It's okay. It's totally random. So
Yeah, it's
it probably
random.
has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with like it could. I don't know. All right, here we go. Scientists have been working on a mosquito-killing laser that can kill up to 100 mosquitoes a second. Holy shit. The system can even distinguish gender and species by calculating the speed at which their wings beat.
That
Sign me up for that. I hate mosquitoes.
I'll take 3.
Yeah. Sign me. Are mosquitoes bad in Arizona?
Not crazy bad, no, but
I would
they're
think so. Lack of moisture, right?
they kill my roommate all the time, and he walks home with welts.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Yeah. I heard don't eat bananas.
Really?
No.
I heard if you don't eat bananas, you don't smell sweet.
I've heard your blood type plays into it. Like like that they're more attracted to one blood type than the other. I don't know how they can tell just flying around, but
Yeah. Cool.
All
right, Eli. That's it, man. Everybody, thank you for listening. Eli, once again, thank you very much. Greg, you look like you wanted to say something real quick.
Well, I do because Rebecca does have a website. We will
You're
link
right.
to that down below. There is a merch store that I saw, which I'm going to be taking a look at. Hopefully, you'll get some of those shot glasses back in because I will probably be ordering one of those.
Yeah.
So, we'll link to that down below. Look for Rebecca Goodhead in the Tempe area, right? Or all over Arizona. Where are you
Great.
going?
Thanks.
All right. So we'll put that down there. Look out for her. Go to her show.
Eli,
There you go.
great meeting you. Next time you're in the Whitewater area, please give us a call. We'd love to check it out.
let us
Yeah,
know.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. So, all right, for everybody out there listening, thank you very much. This is Johnny and the Greg. Catch you later, guys.